Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Call Box. I'm your host, Lieutenant Vince Lewis, coming to you once again from beautiful downtown Phoenix, the police headquarters, and joining me once again on orders, as told.
See, thank you. It's
PIO
Sergeant Jen Zak.
Jen Zak.
Glad to be back. Thanks for inviting me back.
Where's Rob?
I don't know. He's taking a day off, probably Christmas shopping.
Well,
last minute.
Listen, we're going to celebrate the holidays here, but we're going to celebrate safely. So in order to do that, we're going to need some help and advice. And you're a very good friend and mine as well. Absolutely. Welcome back to the show, Lieutenant Brian Rimsza.
Thanks for having me.
Where are you at these days?
So I'm the robbery lieutenant, but I also have the arson unit and I have FIU.
Okay. So this doesn't have to do with the arson, right? Part of it, or how did you end up with Celebrate Safely?
I got a little tied into it because of arsons, although fireworks are not traditionally related to arsons, but they are related to house fires. And so I have a couple of guys that are over there that are my arson investigators. And so that's kind of how we got tied into this.
Okay. So bottom line up front, we want folks to be able to celebrate, but we're talking about year end when we see increased activity or interest in fireworks sales, private use of fireworks, commercial use of fireworks and things like that.
And not to mention random gunfire.
Yeah. So why, okay, fire's in the word, but why are police involved?
Because police and fire always have had a strong partnership, as you well know. And so together, we've engaged the community to try and get out a stronger message to everyone. And I think we've done a really good job. It started early in this year and working with fire, we got a great message out leading up to the 4th of July. I believe we had a great impact. We saw that impact with, some reduced calls on the fire side. And, together we're really working to kind of push this message home. We've never really pushed it this hard. The community, the mayor, the council definitely asked us to kind of put something out. We listened and we're definitely working hard to make sure that everyone in this community celebrates safely.
And I know around the 4th of July, we were definitely pushing out the message to people. We were doing a lot of education. So that was the purpose. And now that we're coming down to the New Year's, why is it important that we focus on this on the New Year?
So New Year's traditionally is, we see fireworks use, but we also see celebratory gunfire. So from the police department perspective, we're focusing on celebratory gunfire and the fireworks aspect of it to ensure that, again, everyone is celebrating safely.
All right. We'll talk a little bit more about that after the break. We're going to talk about legislation. Hopefully you can, give us a little bit more insight into some of the rules that are out there. And what else do you want to know about?
Well, maybe a little bit of history on the Shannon's Law and why that came about and why we're so focused on it now. But we do definitely want to be out there. We want to celebrate safely. We want to celebrate smart.
Right. So, we're talking about fireworks used within the city of Phoenix. Shannon's Law, which is the law that prohibits celebratory gunfire within the city limits, right?
Yeah.
And then, anything else you're going to want to talk about? And I'll probably ask you a little bit more about your other positions and what's going on because, the gunshot detection aspect of the real-time operations centers that are out in the precincts are, giving us a leg up, I guess, in some cases in some of these investigations. And I'm curious to know, because I know we talked about it last time, can you tell the difference between fireworks and gunfire, or is that even something that we want to... Is that a trade secret we want to talk about?
We might be able to touch a little bit on it. I know it gets confusing around the holidays about how many calls that come in, but there is a way that you can tell the difference.
Yeah, because we do ask that we see an increase of calls for service, and they don't know whether or not it's fireworks or gunfire, right?
That is correct.
So
the systems out there definitely have the ability and algorithm to determine the difference between a firework, and a gunshot. I think it's important to talk about how celebratory gunfire and Shannon's Law came about. Mm-hmm. Shannon Smith, back in 1999, she was a 14-year-old girl who was killed by a stray bullet. And so legislation was created to make sure that becomes a felony, makes it a more serious crime. And, the Phoenix Police Department is committed to investigating and arresting anyone who celebrates with gunfire because there's no excuse for celebrating with gunfire. It puts everyone in danger and it's just not worth it. And so we will not tolerate it.
Yeah. It's the old adage, right? What goes up
must come down.
Yeah. And unfortunately, there's too much evidence, just one victim, but I'm sure there's others too that, we're talking about victims' lives and property damage to think of that. It's just dangerous. Yeah. So we want to make sure that we touch on those topics and we'll cover other things. So we'll stick around after the break and we'll continue to talk about how to celebrate safely within the city of Phoenix.
And celebrate smart.
Celebrating smart and safely with the Lieutenant Brian Rimsza back on the show. We appreciate you being here. Stick around.
I'm a Little League coach. And I'm a Phoenix police detective and a part of the team here too.
Find endless career options with one of America's best large employers.
Welcome back to the call box. We've got Lieutenant Brian Rimsza from the Violent Crimes Bureau with us here to talk about celebrating safely. But before we begin, Sarge, you had a question, right?
Yeah, we're coming up on the holiday season. We want to know how you celebrate.
Well, I celebrate with my family. My wife's an amazing cook. She makes some amazing meals, so I definitely enjoy some good food, probably indulge a little more than I can. I get to spend some time with my grandparents, so we have a good time. Maybe a little time on the golf course. So
There you go.
Awesome.
What are some other ways that people celebrate? Fireworks.
Yeah,
That's
right.
the huge one, right? That's the huge one that we're talking about.
Sure, but there's a safe way to do it.
Yes.
Okay. The right off the bat, though, we want to drive home the point that celebratory gunfire, something that we've addressed since we've been early on. If we go back to 1999, Shannon Smith was a 14-year-old girl who was killed by a falling bullet that we're presuming came from celebratory unnecessary gunfire that was just fired off into the air. So my sister went to school with Shannon. She's 40 years old. This was still relevant and still important for us to talk about. What's the messaging that you want to share with the community?
it's simple. Don't ever celebrate with gunfire. It's a danger to everyone. It's not worth it. It'll land you in prison if you do it. So, and we're going to investigate it to the fullest. So please find other ways to celebrate, because celebrating with gunfire is not acceptable ever.
I mean, you can imagine. So this is Wild West, right? A lot of people have guns. There's a lot of, there's a whole gun culture and things like that. But what you find, I would think, with most responsible gun owners is that they know not to fire that thing into the air, right?
Absolutely. And, around the holidays, obviously people may engage in drinking some beverages that are adult beverages, and mixing that with a gun is never a good mix, and the police are going to have to respond to that, and it just puts everybody in a bad spot. So really, don't ever do that. And if you do see someone celebrating with gunfire, please call 911. We will respond. We'll address the issue, and hopefully bring it to a safe resolution. But just don't do that. Find other ways to celebrate.
And the concern is you'll fire it up into the air and you never know where it's going to land. And unfortunately for Shannon, that's what happened to her. But good came out of it. And we have this law that'll help us. Also, there's ordinances where you can't fire a gun in the city of Phoenix.
Yeah, technically you can't even fire it inside the city limits, right? Or within a certain amount of or a certain distance.
You can't shoot it within the city of Phoenix. That's for sure.
Okay. So those people who know where to go out into those other areas where it's okay to do that have done some research and figured out how to safely,
It's never okay to shoot a gun in the air. I mean, if you're shooting at a target or something like that, it's a different story. But, enjoy your family, enjoy the holidays, enjoy the great meals. Don't celebrate with a gun.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. So fireworks, how do we celebrate safely?
I light them up first. I don't like to have them in my hand. Back in the day, we used to be able to light cherry bombs and bottle rockets, but things have since changed. So tell us a little bit about what's going on with fireworks now.
Yeah. So I think what's important to know is that fireworks sales began yesterday, December 10th, in the city of Phoenix, and they'll go through January 3rd. States where you can officially light a firework in the city of Phoenix, a legal firework, is December 26th through January 4th. So you need to know those dates. There are charts on the Phoenix City website. It's phoenix.gov /celebrate safely. It talks about the fireworks that are legal versus illegal. The easiest way to understand legal versus illegal is if it goes up into the air and explodes, it's illegal. If it explodes on the ground, it's illegal. So sparklers, things that just put off kind of a color show on the ground, those are legal fireworks. But if it goes in the air, makes a big loud bang, or on the ground a big loud bang, that is not a legal firework. So you should not be using those within the city of Phoenix.
So we're talking like snakes and sparklers and
The little poppers, the ones that you like to scare your
the throw
friends
one.
and your kids with.
Yep.
Those are the best. Those are the best.
Yeah, absolutely. You
They have
chase the
really
cat
loud
with
ones
those?
now.
Don't torture animals with those things. Animals. This can be very stressful for animals, can't it?
Well, not only animals, but you got to think about our veterans and, those individuals who suffer from PTSD. Those loud explosions are something that can cause harm to them and cause issues for them to have to deal with. So fireworks are definitely an impact to the community. That's why we're trying to put the message out there on the fireworks you can celebrate with, and make sure you're not impacting your neighbors. Be a good neighbor. I mean, that's our goal here.
Well, and not only that, but the loud noise can bother them. And if you shoot an illegal one into the air, once again, what goes up, what must come down? Where's it going to land? Is it going to land on your roof, your neighbor's roof, the dry grass in the desert behind your home? we don't want that to happen. We don't want to have a fire. We don't want somebody to get hurt, some property to get damaged either.
Yeah, and there's professionals that are out there that are putting on shows and things like that you can definitely enjoy. So take us back to July 4th when we did a demonstration that you spoke at during a media event. There was a demonstration there about how to properly dispose of those fireworks. Are you prepared to talk a little bit about that? Or
Yeah, I am. I think something that's really important, and unfortunately we saw it over this 4th of July. There was a home where fireworks were not properly disposed of, and it's a very common thing that someone takes a firework that has been lit, they assume it's out, they throw it in a trash can, and they go to bed, they leave, and the next thing you know, there's a fire. Okay, so if you're going to light fireworks, when you dispose of them, they need to be soaked in water for 24 hours. It's simple. Make sure you have a bucket there with you at all times. And then at the end of it, once things have cooled down, pick them up, just soak them in water, and then you can deal with them the next day. So it's really pretty easy as long as you have just a slight little bit of preparation. And it's important to know that, sparklers are one of the most common fireworks that we see out there. And kids run around with them and play with them. And I understand that that's fun. And I'm not telling people not to have fun. But recognize that those sparklers burn at an extremely hot rate. And so you need to make sure that they're out, make sure they're put in water, make sure no one's touching them or picking them off the ground. Because as we know, kids like to pick things up, and you just got to be real careful because it can definitely put a damper on your holiday if a kid gets an injury or a burn, and it's something that could have been prevented.
Yeah, real quick. So we're cops. We're going to talk crime and punishment. Let's talk about some of the laws and ordinances and disciplines that might come from improper, illegal use of fireworks.
So illegal use of fireworks, there's a state statute that makes it a $1,000 civil penalty if you get caught lighting and igniting illegal fireworks within the city. There's also a city code that can be used. It's a criminal offense. It's a misdemeanor. We're hoping not to have to use those. I mean, obviously everyone's out there trying to have a good time. That's why we're really pushing this education campaign out there, because we really want people to understand the law and not get in trouble. I mean, we don't want to ruin your fun festivities. We just want you to know, we want you to understand and abide by the law.
Yeah, we're not the fun police.
We're not the fun police, but we are the police. So remind everybody once again what those dates are that they can legally light legal fireworks.
So legal fireworks can be lit December 26th through January 4th.
All right. And so for more information, we want everybody to go to phoenix.gov/celebrate safely. Thank you, Lieutenant Brian Rimsza, for coming back on the show. Thanks, Sarge.
Thank you. Help us celebrate safely and celebrate smart.
All right. Awesome. I just want to remind everybody out there that you too can help solve crime in your community by sending tips to Silent Witness. Visit silentwitness.org and call 480-WITNESS. You can catch the video versions of our show, The Call Box, on our YouTube channel. Follow us on all social media platforms. We are hiring. Go to joinphxpd.com. And remember, until next time, we're celebrating safely, so be safe out there.